So guys, at the start of the stream we will try to correct the sound quality and the volume proportions. We will compare the volume in game and my voice right now. So let's hope for the best, and now I think it's working quite nicely. Oh snap, where is my sound? There are some problems here. I don't know why why are they appearing right now. Okay, let's check it better because there is some problems here. So this is the start of the stream, and I'm just balancing out the sound volumes and the sound quality in general to be appropriate for this quality time that we have here. There's almost no sound at the start of this game. So I will look at my stream itself to see is it really the case. I will look at my stream itself to see is it really the case. I will look at my First of all, there is no visual here. Is it really the case? First of all, there is no visual here. Wait a second. First of all, there is no visual here. Wait a second. So now we are trying to fix the visual problems to start the stream. Sorry for the technical difficulties we have. So okay, let us start slowly at the point where we left this story. It was uh, it was ended abruptly previously because there were some problems with my timing, and as I remember it, we encountered the strange book with a length of more than 20 pages long, and this stopped us for a little bit. Wait a second, I need to check my audio and video configurations right now. So this stuff always takes time. The Morrowind itself takes the whole screen, and because this game is quite old school, we could not just alt tab from there. If there is no road back after you alt tab from it, you need to restart the whole game. So yeah, just want to make sure that we all have some quality time with the Lands of Morrowind.
What was that?
Yeah, I believe we are ready for the journey. And I'm stuck in the chair, because all is nice when you are stuck.
I will listen, Outlander, but make it quick.
So are you ready for the finishing pages of this story about the deities of this game? Varieties of Faith. Page number. Where we left off from here. I think it's where it is. Come on. I don't remember it. Yeah, Hermamotha. Yeah, we are here. I think we left here. So the last god that we read before is description of John. John is ultimate god of the little moon, also called Secunda or Stendar's sorrow. In Khajiit religion, John is only one aspect of the lunar lattice, or Jak Hajj. And now we need to continue this book of kinds of deities in this game. Julianus, god of wisdom and logic, often associated with Junal, the Nordic father of language and mathematics. Julianus is the Tordilic god of literature, law and history, and contradiction. Monastic orders founded by Tiber Septim and dedicated to Julianus are the keepers of the Elder Scrolls. Cain, kiss at the end, Nordic goddess of the storm, widow of shore and favorite god of warriors. She is often called the mother of men. Her daughters taught the first Nords the use of the thumb or storm voice, which will be evident in the chapter of Elder Scrolls series called Skyrim. Kynareth, goddess of air. Kynareth is a member of the Nine Divines and the strongest of the sky spirits. In some legends, she is the first to agree to Lorcthan's plan to invent the mortal plane, and provides the space for its creation in the void. She is also associated with the rain, a phenomenon said not to occur before the removal of Lorcthan divine spark. Okay, Leki, saint of the spirit sword, goddess daughter of Tal Papa. Leki is the goddess of aberrant swordsmanship. The Natotombo of Yakuda worked to a standstill during the Mythic era to decide who would lead the charge against the left-handed elves. Their swordmasters, though, were so skilled in the best-known cuts as to be matched evenly. Leki introduced The ephemeral feint. Afterwards, a victor emerged, and the war with the Aldmer began. Now, I want to point out one thing about left-handedness. It seems like there is some culture here of elves that has majority of elves that are left-handed. However, there's a catch here. In the real world, left-handedness is not really the behavior thing, or how you can call it otherwise. It's not. It is not about education of human being or culture of it to be left-handed. Left-handedness is transferred via inheritance, as it may be evident if you read some scientific papers. What you can say about it is that left-handedness can be put into human genetically, and also while the child is in womb of mother. So there are some factors uh, in the early development age, but mostly it is more genetic and inheritance way. So the left-handed culture of elves is kinda unrealistic. Yeah, you can argue with me that why you are criticizing the game which is in fantasy world, and I will agree with you partly. Anyway, let's walk forward. Lorkhan, the missing god, this creator, trickster, tester, deity, is in every Tamrielic mythic tradition. His most popular name is Aldmeri Lorkhan, or Doom Drum. He convinced or contrived the original spirits to bring about the creation of the mortal plane, upsetting the status quo, much like his father Padme had introduced instability into the universe in the beginning place. After the world materialized, Lorkhan is separated from his divine center, sometimes involuntarily, and wonders the creation of the Adam. He and his metaphysical placement in the scheme of things is interpreted a variety of ways. In Morrowind, for example, he is a being related to the psychic endeavor, a process by which mortals are charged with transcending the gods that created them. To the High Elves, he is the most unholy of all higher powers, as he forever broke their connection to the spirit plane. In the legends, he is almost always an enemy of the Aldmir and therefore a hero of early mankind. I want to look for his father, which named Padmai. Did we read about him? No, we don't. So let's read about him later. Lorkhaj, Moonbeast. Prairie Data Dynasty Anaquinian deity, easily identified with the missing god Lorkhan. Magnus, Magus. The god of sorcery, Magnus withdrew from the creation of the world at the last second, though it cost him dearly. What is left of him on the world is felt and controlled by mortals as magic. One story says that while the idea was thought up by Lorkhan, It was Magnus who created the schematics and diagrams needed to construct the mortal plane. He is sometimes represented by an astroblade. Oh, no. By an astrolabe, a telescope, or more commonly, a staff. Zoroastrian legends say he can inhabit the bodies of powerful magicians and let them his power, associated with Zoram Arctos, the Underking. Malakath, god of curses. Malakath is the reanimated dung that was Trinimac, a somewhat weak but vengeful Daedra. The Dark Elves say he is also Malak, the god king of the orcs. He always tests the Dunmer for physical weakness. Maluk, Horde King, an enemy god of the Ragada, led the goblins against the Red Guards during the First Era, fled east when the army of the Hunding overtook his goblin hordes. Moloch Malakath, an Orcish god, a Maloch, troubled the heirs of the king Harald for a long time, fled east after his defeat at the Battle of Dragon Ball, Ea Tsea 1 era 660. His rage was said to fill the sky with his sulphurous hatred, later called the Year of Winter in Summer. So Maloch, Malakat, what was referenced here is Malak, god king of orcs. It's a different one, it seems to be. Mara, goddess of love, nearly universal goddess. Origin started in mythic times as a fertility goddess. In Skyrim, Mara is a handmaiden of Cain. In the Empire, she is a mother goddess. She is sometimes associated with Nier of the Anuet, the female principle of the cosmos that gave birth to creation. Depending on the religion, she is either married to Akatosh or Lokhan or the concubine of both. Mehrunes Dagon, god of destruction. Popular Daedric power. He is associated with natural dangers like fire, earthquakes, and floods. In some cultures, though, Dagon is merely a god of bloodshed and betrayal. He is an especially important deity in Morrowind, where he represents its near inhospitable terrain. Mephala, androgyne. Mephala is the web spinner, or the spider god. In Morrowind, he or she was the ancestor that taught Chimera the skill they would need to evade their enemies or to kill them with secret murder. Enemies with numerous in those days. No. Enemies were numerous in those days, since the Chimera were a small faction. He or she, along with Boethach, organized the clan systems that eventually became the basis for the great houses. He or she founded the Morak tongue, also called the anticipation of Vids. Molag Bal, god of schemes, king of rape. It sounds so funny that he's a king of rape. It's just two incombinable words. Why is there king of rape? Come on. Molag Bal, why you have such a funny title? Oh, okay, let's read the description of the king of rape. Daedric power of much importance in Morrowind. There, he is always the arch-enemy of Boethiah, the prince of plots. Come on, why is that? So Boethiah is the prince of plots, and this one, Molagbal, is god of schemes. What? Okay, anyway, let's move on. He is the main source of the obstacles to the Dunmer and preceding Chimera people. In the legends, Molekbal always tries to upset the bloodlines of houses or otherwise ruin Dunmeri purity. A race of super monsters said to live in Molek Amur are the result of his seduction of Vivids during the previous era. Mori House, first breath of man, ancient cultural hero, god of the Zero Nordics. Legend portrays him as the taker of the citadel, an act of mythic times that established human control over the valley heartland. He is often associated with the Nordic powers of Doom, and therefore with Kinnoreth. Morva, tear god. Yokodan fertility goddess, fundamental deity in the Yokudan pantheon, and the favorite of Tal Papa's wives, still worshipped in various areas of Hammerfell, including Stros Mkai. Morwa is always portrayed as four-armed so that she can grab more husbands. What? She is four-armed to grab more husbands. How many husbands? Oh no. How many husbands you can place in one hand? How many husbands you can place in four hands? How many husbands can you take with four hands? That's a question we ask. Okay, it's funny, it's strange, but we continue. Nerevar, God Killer. The Chimera King of Resdain, the golden age of Old Velith, slain during the Battle of Red Mountain. Nerevar was the herald of the Trion Way, and is the foremost of the saints of the Mary faith. He is said to have killed Danmak, the last Warring king, and feasted on his heart. Onsi, Bon Sheva, notable warrior god of the Yokadan Gada. Onsi taught mankind how to pull their knives into swords. What? Come on, okay. Orki, Old Naka, a lone god of the North, who seemed to have taken up his worship during the Aldmeri rule of Atmora. Nords believe they once lived as long as elves until the Orki appeared. Through heathen trickery, he fooled them into a bargain that bound them to the Count of Winters. At one time, legends say, Nords only had a lifespan of 6 years due to Orki's fall magic. Shor showed up, though, and through unknown means removed the curse, throwing the most of it onto the nearby orcs. Why orcs? What does it do to them? What? Why you can't just remove the curse? At all? Cleanly? Cleanse the Nords? That's all? No, you need to throw the most of the curse into poor orcs. Why is that? That's cruel. Okay, let's move on. Finaster. Finaster is a hero god of the Somerset Isles, who taught the Altmer how to naturally live another 100 years by using a shorter walking stride. But like a walking stick? And no, let's move on. Rajhin Footpath, fifth god of the Kachiti, who grew up in the Black Kirgo section of Senchal, the most famous burglar in Elsewhere history. Rajhin is said to have stolen a tattoo from the neck of Empress Kintira as she slept. Stolen a tattoo. This whole book is some pages of absurdity. the most absurd book that we read before. So let's move on. Let's continue. Riemann, the third year. Culture god hero of the Second Empire. Riemann was the greatest hero of the Alkebari trouble. Indeed, he convinced the invaders to help him build his own empire, and conquered all of Tamriel except for Morrowind. He instituted the rites of becoming emperor, which included the ritual keys to the Amulet of Kings, a soul gem of immense power. His dynasty was ended by the Dunmeri Moragtong at the end of the First Era, also called as the Worldly God. How many pages there are? Like another half of what we read. It's another 15 pages. Okay, Riddle Thar, Two Moons Dance. The cosmic order deity of the Khajiit, the real Thar was revealed to elsewhere by the prophet Ritharidata. It sounds like some programming algorithm. Read there or read that. It's good name for someone working with big data. The main. The Riddle Tower is more a set of guidelines by which to live than a single entity, but some of his avatars like to appear as humble messengers of the gods, also known as the Sugar God. Ruptka, Tal Papa, chief deity of the Yokudun pantheon. Ruptka, more commonly known as Tal Papa, was the first god to figure out how to survive the hunger of Satakal. Following his lead, the other gods learned the walkabout, or a process by which they can persist beyond one lifetime. So Papa set the stars in the sky to show lesser spirits how to do this too. When there were too many spirits to keep track of, though, Ruptka created a helper out of the dead skin of past worlds. Good job, Ruptika. This helper is Sep, see below, we'll see later, maybe, who later creates the worlds of mortals. And the next god is the world's king, Satakal. Yakudan god of everything. Really? Okay, so it's maybe... No, it's not a chief deity, but it's a god of everything. How it works? So there is a god of everything, like god of universe maybe, and there is a god that is the chief of pantheon. So this is like a Zeus in Greek mythology, and this is like a god in maybe in understanding of Christianity. But I could be mistaken. So at least Satakal is created the world, as I understand, and Tolpapa is the chief of the gods that rule in this universe. Okay, so Yukudan is the world of everything. No, is the god of everything. A fusion of the concepts of Anu and Padamai. Basically, Satakal is much like the Nordic Alduin, who destroys one world to begin the next. Yeah, we heard this before in this book. So, but all points are connected right now. Almost all. There are some points that are disconnected for a time being. And to be more specific, it's Padmai. We'll read about him later. So, in Yokodan mythology, Satakal had done and still does this many times over, a cycle which prompted the birth of spirits that could survive the transition. The spirits ultimately become the Yokodan pantheon, popular god of the Alikor nomads. Shogorath, the mad god. The fearful obeisance of Shogorath is widespread and is found in most Tamrielic quarters. Tamrielic quarters. Contemporary sources indicate that his roots in Aldmeri creation stories. Therein he is born when Lorkhan's divine spark is removed. Lorkhan is the big god here. Wait a second. We can look at him. The missing god. Oh no, it's a tricky chief god or something like that. Okay. So divine spark was removed. One crucial myth calls him the Sifith shaped hole of the world. Okay. Sure, Batman. In Brittany, the Batman is the source of all strife. He seems to have started as the god of crop failure. But most modern theologians agree that he is a demonized version of the Nordic Shoah, born during the dark years after the fall of Thardhal. Sep, the snake. Yakutan version of Lorkhan. Sep is born when Talpapa creates someone to help him regulate the spirit trait. Sep, though, is driven crazy by the hunger of Satakal. Satakal? We read about Satakal? Yeah, Worldskin. Hunger of Satakal. Hunger of Satakal. And he convinces some of the gods to help him make an easier alternative to the walkabout. Walkabout? Eh? What? We heard this before. Yeah, Talpapa. Learn, other gods learn. Process. Alternative way. Alternate. Help him make an easier alternative to the walkabout. And walkabout is a process by which they can persist beyond one lifetime. So the mythology is this. Satakal creates the world. He creates the world by destroying previous world. But before that, he needs to transfer the gods and spirits of this world into the next one. These spirits will be a next expansion of this world. No. Better say, it will be the same pantheon of the next world. And to help him with that, he used the Sep, and maybe Talpapa helps. And Talpapa helps the Satakal by the technique called walkabout, which helps them persist after the world is eaten. Anyway, some intertwined stories here that we can understand and weave out. Okay, let's continue. This, of course, is the world as we know it, and the spirits who followed Sep become trapped here to live out their lives as mortals. Sep is punished by Talpapa for his transgressions, but his hunger lives on as a void in the stars, a non-space that tries to upset mortal entry into the far shores. Shizar, god of man, it's a rodilic version of Lorkhan, whose importance, and again, Lorkhan is a trickster. Is a trickster god which is kind of important in where? In most Tamrielic myth. So there are some versions of him, and for Yakudans it's Sep. For Tsorodilics, Lorkhan is Shezar, and it referred to god of men. Version of Lorkhan, whose importance suffers from when Akatosh comes to the fore of imperial, really Alessian religion. Shizar was the spirit behind all human undertaking, especially against the Aldmeri aggression. He is sometimes associated with founding of the first Sorodidic battle mages in the present age of racial tolerance. Shizar is all but forgotten. Sure, god of the underworld, Nordic version of Loghan, who takes sides with men after the creation of the world. Foreign gods like Elven ones conspire against him and bring about his defeat, towing him to the underworld. As Morrowind myth depict him as a bloodthirsty warrior king who leads the Nords to victory over their Aldmeri oppressors time and again. Before his doom, Shor was the chief of the gods, sometimes also called children's god. See Orki above. Thothathil, Mystery of Morrowind. God of the Dunmer, Thothathil is the least known of the divine tribunal. He is said to be reshaping the world from his hidden clockwork city. Stendar, God of Mercy. God of the Nine Divines, Stendar has evolved from his Nordic origins into a deity of compassion or sometimes righteous rule. He is said to have accompanied Tiber Septim in his later years. In early Altmer legends, Stendar is the apologist of man. Stuchen, god of ransom, Nordic precursor to Stendar, brother of Tsun, chieftain of Shor. Stone was a warrior god that fought against the Aldmeri pantheon. He showed men how to take and the benefits of taking prisoners of war. Sirobane, Wild's god, an Altmeri god ancestor of magic, Sirobane aided Bendu Olo in the fall of the Sloat, though judicious use of his magical ring. Sirobane saved many from the scourge of the Thracian plague. He is also called the Apprentice's god, for he is a favorite of the younger members of the Mages Guild. Tava, bird god, Yakudan spirit of the air. Tava is most famous for leading the Yakudans to the Isle of Hurn after the destruction of their homeland. She has since become assimilated into the mythology of Kinnereth. She is still very popular in the Hammerfell among sailors, and her shrines can be found in most port cities. Tiber Septim, Talos the Dragonborn. Wasn't he a real man, the Tiber Septim? Why is he here? Maybe it's Saint One, Saint Human, maybe. Okay, the Dragonborn. Here to the seat of Sundred Kings, Tiber Septim is the most important hero god of mankind. He conquered all of Tamriel and ushered in the Third Era and the Third Empire, also called Ysmir, Dragon of the North. Trinimac, strong god of the early Aldmer, in some places more popular than Auriel. He was a warrior spirit, of the original elven tribes that led armies against the man. Bitheth is said to have assumed his shape. In some stories, he even eats Trinimac, so that he could convince a throng of Aldmer to listen to him, which led to their eventual Chimeric conversion. He vanishes. He vanishes from the mythic stage after this um, to return as the dread Malakat. Altmeri propaganda portrays this as the dangers of Dunmeri influence. Thum, extinct god, Nordic god of the trials against adversity, died defending shore from foreign gods. Tuwaka, tricky god. Yakunan god of souls, Tuwaka before the creation of the world was the god of nobody really cares. God of nobody really cares. Come on. When Talpapa undertook the creation of the walkabout, Tuwaka found a purpose. He became the caretaker of the far shores and continued to help Red Guards find their way into the afterlife. His cult is sometimes associated with Arkay in the more cosmopolitan regions of Hammerfell. Vivitz, master of Morrowind, warrior poet god of the Dunmer. Vivitz is the invisible keeper of the Holy Land, ever vigilant against the dark gods of the volcano. He or she has saved the Dunmeri people from certain deaths on numerous occasions, most notably when he or she taught how to breathe water for a day so that he or she could flood Morrowind and kill all cavalry invaders. So he taught the Dunmeri how to breathe water for a one day to drown his invaders in his land. How strange this. And it happened in Second Era 572. Yeah. Okay, we are almost done. Xarxes or Xarxes. Xarxes. Let's call him Xarxes. Xarxes is the god of ancestry and secret knowledge. He began as a scribe to Auriel and has kept track of all Aldmeri accomplishments, large and small, since the beginning of time. Created his wife Ogma from his favorite moments in history. Euphry, god of forest. Oh, come on, it's missed space here between two gods. But we'll ignore it. Maybe they just uh, maybe they are just too greedy with space. They are economical here. I don't know. So Euphry, god of the forest, most important deity of the Bosmeri pantheon, while Auriel time dragon might be the king of the gods. The Bosmer revere Euphry as the spirit of the now. According to the wolf elves, I mean, it's not the wolf elves, wood elves, after the creation of the mortal plane, everything was in chaos. The first mortals were turning into plants and animals and back again. Then Euphry transformed himself into the first of the Echlonophae, or Earthbound. After these laws of nature were established, mortals had uh, a semblance of safety in the new world because they could finally understand it. Euphry is sometimes called the storyteller, or for the lessons he taught the first Bosmer. Some Bosmer still possess the knowledge of the chaos times, which they can use to great effect. The Wild Hunt. Ysmir Dragon of the North. Isn't he the Vivid's? Oh no, the another one. Cyber Septum. Where is Cyber Septum? Yeah, also called Ysmir, Dragon of the North. So read about Ysmir again. Yoo-hoo! The Nordic aspect of Talos, he withstood the power of Greybeard's voices long enough to hear their prophecy. Later, many Nords could not look on him without seeing dragon. It's the same as Tiber Septim, which transferred the Tamriel and set the founding stones to create the Third Empire. Why is there the same, but the story is different? I don't know. Then, God of Toil. Toilet paper. Oh no. That was a bad pun. Sorry. Bosmeri god of payment in kind. Studies indicate origins in both Argonian and Akaviri mythologies, perhaps introduced into Valenwood by Kothringi sailors. Ostensibly an agricultural deity, Zen sometimes proves to be an entity of a much higher cosmic order. His worship died out shortly after the Knahan flu. Zacht, god of farms, Yakutian god of agriculture, renounced his father after the world was created, which is why Tall Papa makes it so hard to grow food. Venithar, god of work and commerce, trader god. Member of the Nine Divines, Venithar is understandably associated with Ven. In the Empire, however, he is a far more sophisticated god of merchants and middle nobility. His worshippers say, despite his mysterious origins, Zensar is the god that will always win. Okay, Zensar is kinda famous god, because I heard this name before. Okay, so we will take this book because I think it will help us in the future. We could not trade it, by the way, and maybe I will forget it. But we will hope for the best. Okay, so let's see. What can we read more? We read this before. Yeah, we read this before too. We read this one. Oh. More in the past. So this one too. Yeah, I believe we read this before. This one too, and this one too. Okay, I've taken this book about All Saints because it is more important not just to read them out, but to refer to it in the future, because we'll always get the references, or we'll always find the references. References of different gods, and we can understand which god it is. So yeah, today we are continuing the plans that we set up in the previous stream. And the plans are simple ones. Just a little inspection of these houses. Then we will return to the... I think this... Oh, let's look at it. Then we will return to the Temple of Danvers and read their books. Oh, another book. But today we are just reading the books, I think. And maybe if we have some time and fun to do so, we'll go to the Fort Moonwolf.
I haven't much time.
Oh. 19 pages. That's a long book, but we are here for that. Lady Alina Benuch, former master of the Valenwood Fighters Guild and head of the Emperor's personal guard in the Imperial City, has been leading a campaign to reacquaint the soldiers of Tamriel with the sword. I met with her I met with her on 3 different occasions for the purposes of this book. The first time was at her suite in the palace, on the balcony overlooking the gardens below. I was early for the interview, which had taken me nearly 6 months to arrange, but she gently chided me for not being even earlier. I've had time to put up my defenses now, she said, her bright green eyes smiling. Lady Manage is a bosma, a wood elf, and like her ancestors, took to the bow in her early years. Took an arrow in the knee in her early years, not early knees. Okay, let's move on. Let's leave this bad joke. She excelled at the sport, and by the age of 14, she had joined the hunting party of her tribe as a jackspur, a long-distance shooter. During the Black Year of 396, when the Barik tribe began their rampage through southeastern Valenwood, with the aid of powers from the Somerset Isle, Lady Baelish fought the futile battle to keep her tribe's land. I killed someone for the first time when I was 16, she says now. I don't remember it very well. He or she was just a blur on the horizon where I aimed my bow. It meant no more to me than shooting animals. I probably killed 100 people like that during that summer and fall. I didn't really feel like a killer until that wintertide when I learned what it was like to look into a man's eyes as you spilled his blood. As you spilled his blood. It was a scout from the Barak tribe who surprised me while I was on camp watch. We surprised each other, I suppose. I had my bow at my side, and I just panicked, trying to string an arrow when he was half a yard away from me. It was the only thing I know to do. Of course, he struck first with his blade, and I just fell back in shock. You always remember the mistakes of your first victim. His mistake was assuming because he had drawn blood and I had fallen that I was dead. I rushed at him at the moment he turned from me towards the sleeping camp of my tribesmen. He was caught off guard, and I wrested his blade away from him. I don't know how many times I stabbed him at him, but the time I stopped, when the watch came to relieve me, my arms were black and blue with strain. There was not a solid place of him left. I had literally cut him into pieces. You see, I had no concept of how to fight, or how much it took to kill a man. Lady Banish, aware of this defici- deficiency in her education, began teaching herself swordsmanship at once. You can't learn how to use a sword in Vinewood, she says. Which isn't to say Postman can't use blade, but we are largely self-taught. As much as it hurt when my tribe found itself homeless, pushed to the north, it did have one good aspect. It afforded me the opportunity to meet red guards, studying all manners of weapon wielding under the tutelage of Wadi Akbar. Lady Binish excelled. She became a freelance adventurer, traveling through the wilds of southern Hammerfell and northern Valenwood, protecting the caravans and visiting dignitaries from the various dangers indigenous to the population. Unfortunately, before we were able to pursue her story of her early years and any further, Lady Binoche was called away on urgent summons from the Emperor. Such is often the case with the Emperor Guard, and in these troubled times perhaps more so than in the past. When I tried to contact her for another talk, her servants that their me informed me then their mistress was in Skyrim. Another month passed, and when I visited her suite, I was told she was in High Rock. To her credit, Lady Bonish actually sought me out for our second interview on Sun's Dusk of that year. I was in a tavern in the city called the Blood and Rooster when I felt her hand on my shoulder. She sat down at the root table and continued her tale as if it had never been interrupted. She returned to the theme of her days as an adventurer and told me about the first time she ever felt confident with a sword. I owned at that time an enchanted katana, quite a good one, of diedric metal. It wasn't an original Akaviri, not even of design. I didn't have that kind of money, but it served my primary purpose of delivering as much damage with a little effort on my part as possible. A core had taught me how to fence, but when faced with a life or death situation, I always fall back on the old overhand wallop. A pack of orcs stolen some gold from a local chieftain in Medicia, and I went looking for them in one of the ubiquitous dungeons that dot the countryside in that region. There were the usual rats and giant spiders, and I was enough of a veteran by then to dispatch them with relative ease. The problem came when I found myself in a pitch black room, and all around me I heard the grunts of orcs nearing in. I waved my sword around me, connecting with nothing, hearing their footsteps coming ever nearer. Somehow I managed to hold back my fear and to remember the simple exercises Master Akor had taught me. I listened, stepped sideways, swung, twisted, stepped forward, swung a circle, turned around, sidestepped, swung. My instinct was right. The orcs had gathered in circle around me, and when I fought in light, I saw that they were all dead. No. When I found the light, I saw that they were all dead. That's when I focused on my study of swordplay. I'm stupid enough to require a near-death experience to see the practical purposes, you see. Lady Binoche spent the remainder of the interview responding in her typically blunt way to the veracity of various myths that surrounded her and her career. It was true that she became the master of the Valenwood Fighters Guild after winning a duel with the former master, who was a stooge of the Emperor Battlemage, the traitor Jagar Tharn. It was not true that she was the one responsible for the Valenwood's Guild disintegration 2 years later. Actually, The membership in the Valenwood chapter was healthy, but in Tamriel overall, the mood was not conducive for the continued existence of a non-partisan organization of freelance warriors. It was true that she first came to the Emperor's attention when she defended Queen Akorithe of Thempel from a Breton assassin. It was not true that the assassin was hired by someone in the High Court of the Daggerfall. At least, she says, really. That has never been proven. It was also true that she married her former servant, Urkin, after he had been in her service for 11 years. No one knows how to keep my weaponry honed like he does, she says. It's a practical business. I either had to give him a rise or marry him. Come on, really? Lady, you don't need to be so mercantile. Anyway, let's go on. The only story I asked her that she would neither admit or nor refute was the one about Galaxies, the Emperor's bastard. When I brought up the name, she shrugged, professing no knowledge of the affair, pressed on with the details of the story. Galaxies, though not in the line for succession, had been given the archbishoprics. Come on, archbishopric, archbishopric of the one, a powerful position in the imperial city, and indeed overall Tamriel where that religion is honored. Whispering began immediately that Calaxes believed that the gods were angry with the secular governments of Tamriel, and the emperor specifically. It was even said that Calaxes advocated full-scale rebellion to establish a theocracy over the empire. It is certainly true. I pressed on that the emperor's relationship with Calaxes had become very stormy, and that legislation had been passed to limit the church's authority. That is up until the moment when Calaxis disappeared, suddenly, without notice to his closest of friends. Many said that Lady Benesh and the Imperial Guards assassinated the Archbishop Calaxis in the sacristy of his church. The date usually given was the 20th, 29th of Sun's Dusk, Third Era 498. Of course, responds Banish, with one of your mysterious grins. I don't need to tell you that the Emperor Guard's position is as protectors of the throne, not assassins. But surely no one is more trusted than the Guard for such sensitive operation, I say carefully. Lady Banish acknowledges that, but merely says that such details of her duties must remain secret as a matter of imperial security. Unfortunately, her ladyship had to leave early the next morning, as the emperor had business down south. Of course, I couldn't be told more specifics. She promised to send me word when she returned so we could continue our interview. As it turned out, I had business of my own in the Somerset Isle, compiling a book on the psychic order. It was therefore with surprise that I met her ladyship 3 months later in Firsthold. We managed to get away from our respective duties to complete our third and final interview on a walk along the Diseto, the great river that passes through the royal parks of the city, steering away from the questions of her recent duties and assignments, which I guessed rightly she was loath to answer. I returned to the subject of sword fighting. Frander hunting, she says, lists 38 grips, 750 offensive and 1800 uh, defensive positions, and nearly 9,000 moves essential to sword mastery. The average hack and slasher knows one grip, which he uses primarily to keep from dropping his blade. He knows one offensive position, facing his target, and one defensive position, fleeing. Of the multitudinous rhythms and infections of combat, he knows less than one. That's an average hack and slasher. The ways of the warrior were never meant to be the easiest path. The archetype of the idiot fighter is as solidly ingrained as that of the brilliant wizard and the shrewd thief, but it was not always so. The figure of the philosopher swordsman, the blade-wielding artist, are creatures of the past, together with the sword singer of the Red Guard, who was said to be able to create and wield a blade with but the power of his mind. The future of the intelligent blade wielder looks bleak in the comparison to the glories of the past. Not wanting to end our interviews on a sour note, I pressed Lady Alena Benosh for her advice for young blade swingers just beginning their careers. When confronted with wizard, she says, throwing petals of Canthleaf into the desert, close the distance and hit them hard. Hit him hard. Okay, is it so positive or not? Maybe yeah. That's the book we read. And is it enough for this part of city? Let's look for this town. What is here?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I don't. We'll look for the books, because we are not thieves. Except that one, books about deities. Ignore that. Ignore that. Oh, more books. Come on, guys. I think we read these books before. This one was read. This one was read. That's it. And the last house in this block. We've been here, so let's back out. Okay, so now we are moving backwards into the Temple of Dun Mary, where I found several books that definitely haven't been reading by me on this big journey in these lands. So Dun Mary Temple, here it is. We'll enter it, and then we are stopped. Maybe we'll look around a little bit, or not? What do you think?
Make it quick, Ark.
I'm curious. Is the animation of movement of different races in this game are different?
Why do you disturb me?
Can you give me a way here? Seems like not. Okay, you bastard. Oh. Let's look how many books there are. Maybe we'll read them all. Yeah. Because it's a good idea for the story that I'm telling in a gameplay way, or maybe the video compositions, because I prefer to either read the books for the whole series or to read the books only at the end of the series. So yeah. Oh my god, how many books there are. So yeah,
Whatever you're looking for, I'm
this
sure I
part
don't know
is
how to find
only books.
You talk too
Books.
much, Outlander.
Okay, let's see how many books there are as new ones. This one I think we read. Yes. This we never read. This one is never read too. This is new one. I don't know about that. I think it's not a new one. This one is new. And this one isn't new. And this one is new, but it's short. So how many pages are 7, 6, 6, 6, 6. Ah, no, guys, let's read them in the next stream. We'll start with reading the books, and then we'll travel
Whatever you're looking for,
across.
I'm sure I don't know how to find
So you see, in
Make it
this
quick,
city, Balmora, which we entered it like 4 parts before. So 4 parts continued, and we are still in this city. We are reading books, we are talking
Make
with
it
people,
quick, Ark.
and we taking quests. We entered the battle mage guild. We entered the fighters guild. We figured the quest. We entered the
You talk too
blades.
much, Outlander.
We gathered some quests there, and now we are reading a ton of books. There are a few libraries here with shelves filled with books. That's the story, and I think that we almost done. At least we did it until it is tiring. Yeah. After that, we will continue our journey in some wilderness, some lands. We need to conquer the dwarven dungeon and find there some strange cube, if you remember it. I remember. It's a quest for the even not a fighters guild, but one man of the fighters guild, which help is needed,
Why do you disturb me?
and for his help we need to do him a favor first. Anyway, guys, sorry for this tangent. Let's just enjoy the world, and I will see you next time.